Imagine you move from a place where you lived all your life. Imagine you move and you leave all your children and wife. Starting all over again, but no one you know is around. Well, they didn't have to imagine. They built it up from the ground. How does it sound? Not easy cause it isn't. Could have phased them, but it didn't. But the raid bond, that's a winner. And they ran straight to the finish. You get to know them up close and personal. Wait, just give me a minute. Welcome to the front row. Can I get a drum roll? Intentional. We may be immigrants, but we are still intentional. We are dependable. It's just that set the bar, but still the best of all, we are intentional.
Welcome to the Intentional Immigrants podcast. I'm happy that you're able to join us here today. My name is Yolanda Jack. Our guest for today comes from the country of South Africa. She is Dr. Unati Makiwane. Dr. Unati will be speaking with us today about mental health. She will also be telling us about her journey as a family physician and as an immigrant from the country of South Africa. Let's tune in as Dr. Unati shares her story. The Intentional Immigrants podcast can be found on Google Podcast, Spotify, Podbean, and YouTube. I encourage you to like, share, and subscribe. We also have a website. It's called intentionalimmigrants.com. That's intentionalimmigrants.com. Hi, Dr. Unati Makiwane. How are you doing?
Welcome How are you?
I'm doing good. Welcome to the Intentional Immigrants podcast. It's my pleasure to have you on the podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me, Yolanda.
You're welcome. Tell us a bit about yourself. Who are you? Where did you come from originally? Just walk us through your journey.
Thank you. So my name is Unati Makiwane. I am a mother to two kids. My son is 12, turning 13 in August.
Okay.
And my daughter is turning 4 in July, actually. And me and my partner, we have these two kids, and we are here in Calgary. I am a family physician. I'm also a mental health advocate. I'm big with that. And more than anything, extending out of my practice, I do a lot of speaking around mental health and disease prevention. Lately, I've been focusing on men's health and boy children's health. Okay. And I think it's because of basically how we are basically viewing men and boy children in general. So I took a different approach, and basically based on what I see in my practice, they tend to come late for anything, medical conditions, even worse with mental health. So that's basically what I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about anything that has health, or basic health and wellness, mental health, family, traveling. I'm from South Africa originally. I came here 10 years ago, and I love it here.
Okay.
And I love what I do. I love my family. We love traveling. We go back and forth, South Africa and other parts of the world. Hopefully we'll make it to Jamaica one of these days. After the pandemic.
Yes, when you need to recuperate and, get some rest and enjoy your vacation, because after this pandemic, you will need a break.
Oh my gosh. Actually, next week, I am taking 2 weeks off because I work alone in my office. So I'm very exhausted. Yes, it's been almost 2 years. So I'm excited about that. We're going away here to BC. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
I'm hoping not to touch anything clinical. I don't want anything to do with anything work related. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I can just imagine. Have you had the chance to return to South Africa?
Yes, absolutely. When we came, I came actually in 2010 and then went back. My One of my best friends was getting married. So I went back after 1 year,
Mm-hmm.
and we've been going actually at least every 2 years.
Every two
The
years.
last time we were home was 2017,
Okay.
2017. Yes, 2017. And of course, COVID happened. I was supposed to be there last year in April, March, April, but it couldn't happen.
Couldn't happen.
I'm hoping next year I'll be able to go. But
Okay.
we always try to go. If not, my mom and my sister, they visit here.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
What do you miss most about South Africa?
The weather and my friends. I've made friends here, but I just miss speaking in my language. And I do have friends from South Africa here, but with work and with different locations, we don't
Everybody's
get to see each other.
yeah.
So now you appreciate it more, that you miss, and also the help from your own family members. When we want to do anything, you have to think about who's going to help you with your kids. So that's one thing I really miss about having my
Community.
own family around. I
Yeah.
don't have to make appointments around other people. Those things that we take for granted
You
back
just
home.
turn up.
You know, you just kind of want to go away with your friends. You know that, of course, if it's not your sister, your aunt, your uncle, people will be around, for your kids. But this side of the world, you have to plan.
Yes, and you have to work around people's schedule. You can't just
Of
turn up like that.
course.
You have to say, "Oh, I'm coming over. When is a good time to come over?"
Right. Yes. So you do all these things we were not used to. And of course, I miss food. I mean, we try to buy our foods, but I miss that. I miss really the humor. I just miss my people. And I always go on Facebook or anything that would make me just connect with my people. It's just beautiful. And the language, the things that are said in my language is different.
The translation is lost in translation.
Translation just it loses that,
Yes.
the sweetness in whatever joke that was said. So I
Yeah.
miss that, and also I just miss going to the market and just visiting with people, and just that noise of my people, the sound, the laughter. I miss that. I miss it a lot.
Yes, I miss it too. I try and go back every 2 years as well. Of course,
Right,
pandemic hit. Luckily, I went back in 2019, so I
right.
was able to see my family then and my friends. But I really want to go back after this pandemic is over. I think I
I'm
need a reset.
sure.
I need a reset.
You
Press
need a
reset.
reset. And I think that's another thing we actually appreciated about this pandemic, that we miss and we need our people. Like now, I have actually in my mind, I'm thinking the next maybe 2 or 3 years, I want to be half here, half time in South Africa. I don't know how I'm gonna do it
Oh,
with the
that
younger
would be
kids in
interesting.
school. It'll be interesting, with young kids in school. But this actually made me realize that I really miss home.
Yeah, you really miss
I
home.
do.
All right. What place or activity would you recommend to someone visiting South Africa for the very first time? Must see, must have, must experience.
Oh my gosh, there's so many, Yolanda.
Just
Of
one.
course, it has to be one. Okay. I guess maybe Cape Town, because obviously, if people don't really have much time, when you come to South Africa, you land in Johannesburg,
Okay.
right? Yes, in Johannesburg, and then you can decide if you are a person who wants to know more about our history, about um, the struggles, like our comrades. Soweto is also a really good place to start. I would definitely recommend Soweto, and also just go there. The history, that's beautiful. And of course, Cape Town. Cape Town is lovely. And Robben Island, where Mandela was incarcerated,
Okay.
so that would be a really good place to go, because we have beach there, beautiful, like behind your back there. It's just lovely. And the food and the culture, it's a diverse place. And of course, honestly, I think when you want to go to my side of the country, the Eastern Cape, we're actually also on the coast. It's
Okay.
beautiful to drive. there's actually an area called Garden Route when you want to drive from Cape Town up to the Eastern Cape. It's gorgeous there.
Okay.
I honestly think it would be unfair not to mention my province, where Mandela came to, you know. It's lovely there. Yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you. You mentioned that you are a medical doctor. Am I correct?
Yes.
All right. So you're a medical doctor, but you do have your practice is in psychology. Am I correct on that?
No, it's family practice. It's family
Family.
medicine practice. So basically,
Mhm.
we see everyone,
Okay.
right? Yes.
So how does the men's mental health piece comes into it?
Okay, thank you so much for asking. So basically, outside my practice, I do other things. I have actually two shows. I have one that's called Dr. M Health Corner. Actually, today it basically streams live on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. I have a
Okay.
page
What is it
where I
called?
bring Dr. M Health Corner.
Dr. M Health Corner. Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. M Health Corner. So basically, I bring colleagues from all walks of life, really from psychology background, medicine. It's just beautiful, and people with lived experiences where we talk about health issues. So
Okay.
it could be men's health, it could be women's health, it could be child's health. So that's basically that my first part. And then the second one that I launched last year, it's gonna be a year here in July. It's specifically men's health. That one is wonderful because and close to my heart because it attracted a lot of men from all walks of life.
Mhm.
And initially it was just specifically for them, and now they started bringing their spouses. So
Okay.
it's such a beautiful place where we talk about anything that concerns men. There I have brought different colleagues, even actually financial people, because I think finances, they do matter in our health.
In our health, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll bring doctors, or sometimes it's me who's leading the show, and with whatever topic we decided to talk about. So it could be sexual health, it could be mental health, it could be financial health, or just physical stuff. So it's been wonderful. I really enjoy interacting with this global community of men.
Okay. What's that one called?
Dr. Unati's talk show.
Dr. Unati's talk show. Okay. Okay, that's good. It's nice to
Thank
be
you.
able to give back and to reach out to the
Yes, yes. I
community.
mean, men, like I said in the beginning, men tend to come late for everything. When you look at the stats, men die faster than women,
Mm-hmm.
and it's because of, for some reason, men, they tend to deal with things, in their own capacity, and they come late to doctors, even just for physical issues. So that's why I decided to create that space for them. And we talk about the early interventions, the early screenings, and also more so mental health, because men, it doesn't matter which culture they're from, they just come late to doctors for stuff like that.
They have to be strong. I think that's probably it.
Mm-hmm.
That there's a lot riding on their shoulders, and the expectation is that they are to be strong. As
Yes,
such, they
yes,
don't seek help.
yes. And I also actually, in the beginning, I thought it was mostly people of color, and because I saw that coming from
Mhm.
South Africa.
Mhm.
But it doesn't matter which culture they're from. It's just how men and the society designed it. Men have to be stoic, have to be strong, and just deal with things quietly, which is sad because when you look at the stats, we talk about it's mostly women who are depressed, who are reportedly depressed, but who mostly commit suicide? It's mostly men.
Mhm.
So it's quite an interesting stats. So yeah, that's basically why I'm passionate about this.
Okay. Did you practice medicine in South Africa?
Yes, I did. Actually, I've practiced here more than I did in South Africa. I've been a doctor now for 15 years, going 16. I
Mhm.
practiced in South Africa for 5 years and moved here. So it's
Okay.
been, yeah, going 11 years in Canada.
Okay. If I may ask, I know that for persons who practice medicine from other countries, sometimes it's hard for them to come to Canada and be recognized or still be able to practice medicine also. But I think for you in South Africa, how hard was it for you to transfer or be able to set up your practice here and just continue practicing medicine? How difficult was it for you?
Right. You know what? In South Africa, we are fortunate that way. South African healthcare is more or less similar to the Canadian one, but you still need to write exams.
Mhm.
So I didn't have to go back to residency and
Right.
yes, other people from other countries. So what I did, I came in my time 10 years ago because I started in Saskatchewan. Now I'm in Alberta.
Mhm.
I came and practiced for 3, 4 months, and then I went for exams. But now things have changed. They removed few exams and kept some. So you have to do exams before you practice.
Okay. So you have to do
Yeah.
exams now before you are able to practice.
Yes, right now what's happening is they make you write exams, and actually you start writing exams even back home. And I
Okay.
believe now it's applicable to everyone. I'm not sure, things, they're different.
Things
And again,
change.
it
Yeah,
depends.
things change often.
Yes, yes, yes. But basically, right now, you write exams back home. There's a first exam you write, and then when you come, there's another one you do. And now, more especially here in Alberta, I'll talk about Alberta, then they will place you under another colleague for 3 months for observership and also to show what you understand. Like, I mean, it's important for them to do that,
Mm-hmm.
to show your skills and to see that you know what you're doing because you're going to deal with lives, right? So there's
Mm-hmm.
that element. And then I believe after that 3 months, you start practice after writing those exams.
Okay. Thank you.
You're
Your
welcome.
practice, how long have your practice been in operation?
In operation. So I've moved around. Like I said, I started in 2010 in Saskatchewan and moved to Alberta in 2014 in
Okay.
February. I also love rural medicine. It excites me in the past though, but now I've changed. I'm more focused on mental health. But coming from South Africa, we are trained to work anywhere. You deal with everything. Our training there, whether you are a family physician or a GP, if I may use South African language, you are trained to do even surgical stuff, right?
Okay.
You can deliver babies, all those things.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, I moved to Alberta, Daysland, for almost 4 years. And then at that time, I was in a group practice. And
Okay.
then when I moved to Calgary in 2017, um, I worked a bit with colleagues here and there. Like I was
Mm-hmm.
trying, actually, I came to Fort Mac for
You did?
probably 3 months. Yes, yes. I was there for a locum for 3 months
Mm-hmm.
at one of your community clinics there. And then I started my own in October 2018.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going for 3 years now in October. Time flies.
Okay. That's good. That's very good,
Thank
though.
you.
All right. Share an experience that blew you away in terms of the impact of your service.
You know what? The impact of my service actually is such a humbling experience. Not everyone gets to be in contact with people's vulnerabilities. Being a physician, more especially as a family physician, we are basically the gatekeepers of health, right? People
Mm-hmm.
come to us with their vulnerable stories, with their pain, or people that you are that sometimes you are that first person who's going to deliver the bad news. So for me it's such a blessing and also humbling to be in such a position and also to help people go through hard times and also go through wonderful times too. Like I said, as a family dog, you get to know people's dogs, you get to know their little babies that are born, and you get to know about the pictures of the grandkids. So it's such a beautiful experience being in my position to be in such a journey with people, and they become your family. When someone dies, you hurt and you cry when they're hurting. It's such a painful experience too, to experience that part. And during this time, more so during this COVID-19 time, people are struggling with their mental health,
Mm-hmm.
giving that hope and also trying to stay strong for your own self and your family. It's been the hardest time, right? It's been very hard. And also trying to be patient because also there's a lot of things that happen. People lost jobs, people lost relationships. So there's a lot of stress. So you also need to manage those emotions also yourself when people, they sometimes people lodge it into you when they are stressing in their own personal space. So it's quite a dynamic space to be in, but also very humbling. I really enjoy being a physician.
Okay, thank you. Share a difficulty and the lessons learned as a result of that experience.
Right. You know what? Just journey of being a physician, not getting it right sometimes, missing a diagnosis and also feeling there's something about medicine, you never get used to that. And also the hard times of sharing bad news, so that has been something that you don't get used to it when someone loses a family member. And like I said, sometimes you've known these people, more especially imagine colleagues that have been doctors for 30 years, they sing this family, the whole family for that long. So when you lose someone, or maybe there's divorce, you are used to seeing these people together, you also have that sense of loss. So it can be hard, but you also need to be able to have that, that emotional intelligence of separating the two. But we are human. You have to let yourself be vulnerable and feel with them. So that part, right now, it's just being on the front line and needing to be there for your patients. It's been very hard, more especially during the time where there was a lockdown, we had to work from home, trying to navigate your family needs, yourself, and your patients' needs, and the frustration that comes with it, from also our patients, and also just the whole system and what's happening with the government right now. So there's so many things that are happening right now, but I just believe everything passes. We just have to be in the moment and just ride it on.
Okay, all right. That's a good thought. What's your personal philosophy or mantra?
Living the now. I'm very present. I love enjoying the moment and embracing it to its fullness. I am a person who is passionate about things. I give myself to everything I do with passion, and I want to leave a mark. Whatever I do, if I have interacted with you, I try to be my best impact and influence, so that when you move on with your life, I have contributed positively. And that's basically my mantra, honestly, living in the now and just being a positive influence around whoever is in my space.
Okay, all right, thanks. Share a morning routine or ritual which has helped you well.
When I wake up, I'm grateful, for the day. I'm a Christian, so I'm grateful about being here. Some people are not here, so I usually make sure that I am giving those affirmations, and also my routine that my day will be awesome. My
Okay,
day will go well. So the gratitude is big. I'm big with gratitude, and um, if I can, I do my exercises in the morning, sometimes in the evenings, but more so to just waking up and just being grateful for being here, and that prayer, and being grateful my family, my everyone is well.
okay. Do you journal?
I do in my head, if you know what I mean, Yolanda. I do. But what I've done lately in the recent years, actually, thank God for these phones, the smartphones. I do a lot of my journaling on voice messages. So
Okay.
I go on voice note and say whatever is in my heart. So I probably think that's journaling, right?
Yeah, yeah. It is
But
journal.
otherwise, I talk a lot to myself.
Do you answer yourself?
Yes, my son one time was looking at me, wanted to say, "Are you talking to me?" I said, "No, I'm talking to myself." I was talking to myself, also responding to this. I had a third party in the meeting too.
You're in mental health, so be careful.
Right? So they need to keep check on me, right?
Because they say that it's not talking to yourself. That's not the problem. The problem is when you're answering yourself.
Right? Oh yeah, I recently did that. I was talking to myself and I answered myself. He looked at me so weird. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh, don't worry about me. I'm just having a meeting with myself right here." Yes.
That's funny. Recommend a must read book. That's a book that you have read or are reading, which has
Right?
helped you.
Wonderful. You know what? I read a lot of books, but lately, actually, I need to actually go for my to check for my mail, I'm big with this lady. I need to remember her name now because I love her book. She wrote The Awakened Family, Dr. Tabari. Yeah, Shefali, she's a psychotherapist. Dr.
Okay.
Shefali, she actually changed the way I look at parenting.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading her book about parenting and just how we also need to heal from our own childhood traumas in order to show up better. So the awakened family, I love that. And then also I'm reading another one. I tend to read too many books at once. I'm also reading one by Mark Wolin talking about It Didn't Start With You. It talks about family traumas and all. I think it's because I'm in the mental health space just to
Mm-hmm.
understand what I'm doing. So I love anything that has psychotherapy or any philosophical stuff. I love it. And also the other best book I read that I would recommend is by Michael, what's his name now? Michael Untethered Soul by Michael. I forgot it, but it's such a beautiful philosophical book. I also like that kind of stuff, but right now I'm more excited about Mark Wolin's stuff that I'm reading. It
Okay.
didn't
Okay.
start with you.
Okay. How can my listeners make contact with you?
I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube as Dr. M Health Corner, or just type my name, Dr. Unati Makiwane. It will pop up and show my website. People who could be in touch there by email, but otherwise, I'm available on these other platforms I mentioned.
Okay. Thank you. Dr. Unate,
Welcome.
thank you so very much for spending some time with us today and just sharing your experience with us as fellow immigrants.
Thank you so much, Shalanda, and
Oh,
all
oh,
the
just
best
before
with
you
what
go,
you do.
just
Yes.
one question before you go. Are there any tips you have for immigrants or any persons relocating? Any tips you want to share?
Right. The best advice I could give to anyone who's relocating, just when you move to another country, have that mindset to learn the culture, to learn the dynamics of that new country, open your heart to new friends, and identify people that have similar values, principles. Dive into it. The fear of not wanting to be with people that don't look like you limits a lot of people, and also it limits you from opportunities. So dive into it, be open-minded, get to know people's other culture, because Canada is beautiful that way. We are from all walks of life. A lot of people are from around the world. So
Yeah.
just dive into that and just get to know people's culture. It's quite an interesting journey. And also, when you move here, if it means take 10 steps before you get to your career, because like any other country, you have to go through examinations sometimes. You might have to start with other things before you get to your career. Don't lose hope. Quickly identify people who are in your journey, who you identify with, because there's a lot of groups. Some people, they are trying to get into their accounting careers, some are getting back to their teaching careers, to their, actually, some physicians from other countries. Just get to know people who are in your field, and don't give up. Don't give up, because sometimes it takes 10 years. I've met a family friend, it took her 10 years to become a lawyer again in Canada. She was a lawyer in her country. So sometimes it takes that long,
Takes long,
you know.
yeah.
So don't give up on your dreams. And sometimes also you might have to change. Just look for opportunities. Don't close yourself from opportunities, and getting to know other people. And of course, you do that with caution, and of course, with people that identify with your values and principles.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for spending some time with us today. And all the
Thank you
best
so
on
much.
your on your podcast and your reaching out your men's mental health and in your practice as well.
Thank you so much, Elena. All the best too.
All right. Thank you. Thank you to the following persons and websites who made this podcast possible. Dr. Unati Makiwane, today's guest. Xavier Anderson for providing music. The Intentional Immigrants podcast can be found on Google Podcast, Spotify, Podbean, and YouTube. I encourage you to like, share, and subscribe. We also have a website. It's called intentionalimmigrants.com. That's intentionalimmigrants.com. Until next time, I am your host, Yolanda Jack, reminding you, he who watches the wind will not sow. He who watches the clouds will not reap. Ecclesiastes 11, verse 4. You were born for greatness. Step out into your greatness so that mankind can benefit from you being here. So long, until next time.
Intentional. We may be immigrants, but we are still intentional. We are dependable. It's just that set the bar, but still the best of all. We are intentional.